Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here quick article real quick, which is dealing with, the end times. The devil coming down on you having great wrath because why? He has but a short time. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this here article from RT. It says, Spanish Prime Minister offers to deploy 2,000 troops to help region trace COVID-19 cases. All right, and you know how they say, when they say peace and safety, then shall come sudden destruction, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez have made military personnel available to the regional governments as the country ramps up efforts to contain coronavirus amid an uptick in new cases. Sanchez announced on Tuesday that 2,000 troops will be ready to help with track and tracing efforts and encourage regions to declare their own local state of emergency if they felt the situation warranted. All right, pretty much putting these military personnel in charge. This is more or less like martial law. It says the Prime Minister expressed concerns about a surge in new coronavirus cases and argued that actions needs to be taken to avoid the situation getting worse. Spain has ramped up testing and tracing as part of an effort to contain the virus. We cannot allow the pandemic to take control of our lives again. We must break this second curve, he said. He encouraged Spaniards to download a digital national tracing app, Radar COVID, which is going ultimately into this RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. Spain has recorded more than 400,000 COVID-19 cases, resulting in 28,827 deaths, according to the tally kept by Johns Hopkins University. Earlier this month, the country mobilized a military emergency brigade to set up a field hospital in the northern east city of Zaragoza, amid concerns that the health system could face a strain. Although cases have gone up in August, daily deaths have remained low. The nation imposed one of the strictest lockdowns on the European continent, with local residents remaining in some areas. All right. So let's jump to some scriptures real quick, because ultimately this has all been prophesied in the scriptures, man. This is how it all ends. All right. These are the signs. Let me just go ahead and grab that. All right. This is 2 Ezra 9:1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I've told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. All right, so the signs that was told to us before time, which are these prophecies, which you're going to get into some of these prophecies, they're all now speaking right now. All right, let me grab that real fast. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. All right, so like the Most High said, hey, measure the time diligently. So when you're able to see these things, just like a woman giving birth. All right, you see a woman, she got pregnant or whatever. You start seeing her baby bump start developing. Then you see her, getting to where she's about to explode, more or less to say. All right, but then when her water breaks, you know very well that it's time for her to go into labor, right? So it says the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right, just like the analogy with the baby. When that water break, it's speaking right now. This is the time for that woman to deliver her baby. It's not going to lie, right? Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come. It will not tarry. Again, using the same parable as this here woman is pregnant. Well, a woman, you see a woman, she's 3 months pregnant. She's telling you for the first time, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm about to have a baby. You're not expecting her to have a baby tomorrow, right? You measuring the times diligently, or when she's going to have the baby. She's only 3 months or 2 months. She ain't even really showing. She ain't having that baby tomorrow, but you sitting out with this here woman that's like 8-9 months pregnant, and her water breaks, and you know what time it is. Get up, let's go to the hospital. She's about to have this baby, right? Same with these signs, all right? So let's go back to 2 Ezra, I think it was chapter 9. All right? 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I've told thee before, which these prophecies we're going into, thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And right now, this is that time, all these plagues, pestilence, and all these different prophecies taking place right now, right? Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, all right? So what do we have going on right now, The so-called Black Lives Matter uprisings or whatever, whatnot, however you want to call it. These politicians being found corrupt, the coronavirus pandemic scare, whatever, whatnot. You have all these different things, the economic collapses, all right? So now everybody's in an uproar amongst all the people, man, all right? Verse 4, then thou shalt well understand, all right? This is why it's like, even Ray Charles could see that this is the time that the Most High spoke about, man. You know, even your hardcore atheists or your hardcore Baphomet worshippers can clearly tell you this is that time. Like, oh shit, you know, something popping off right now, right? Verse 4, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. All right? Let me read verse 6. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. So, amen, it's clear and evident. You know, the Most High, you know, the scriptures do say, you know, Yahushua is going to come as a thief in the night. But that's for the people that's not looking for the Lord to return in that capacity. You see what I'm saying? But as far as, you know, the signs of the world is coming to an end, you know, these people are just in denial. They're just denying this right now because in their minds, if they deny it, they can keep on doing whatever they're doing, you know? Just like you had that little badass friend or whatever growing up, you know, oh, I ain't gonna get caught, you know, he's gonna eventually get caught, but he got to justify it in his mind to keep on going or whatever, whatnot, you know? But this is what these people, they think their inward thoughts is their house is gonna go on forever, man. So they have to keep lying to themselves, oh, no, we're gonna bounce back, oh, no, this ain't the end of the world, so on and so forth. But in reality, everybody knows this is the end all be all of everything, man. Just like right before this whole pandemic, all these CEOs stepped down or whatever, whatnot, resigned and left their companies after making all this money. Why would you all of a sudden just stop? Because they knew that these businesses were going to be shut down. They didn't want to take no losses. All right. So let's go back to where are we at? You know what? Let me go to. We'll come back to that. Let me go over here to the book of Isaiah. This is matter of fact, let me read this next. Actually, I was going to read Isaiah 59 and 19. Let me go to 2nd Esdras. Go back to 2nd Esdras real fast and read from it's a lot. 2nd Esdras 15, I think 14. Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein. All right. In fact, that just gave me a precept to come into mind in Revelation 12 and 12. Right. It started out, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, right? This is Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. All right, why is there that woe? All right, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath because he knoweth he have but a short time. So he understands that by measuring these prophecies and these things like that, that Ezekiel 37, the children of Israel are rising up, you know? In fact, Revelation 11 and 11, because I was just mentioning Ezekiel 37 and, you know, the dry bones coming back together, right? Revelation 11:11, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, this is talking about the children of Israel coming back. You know, there was that great falling away first. All right, but then we had to be gathered back together. We were being woken back up. And so now these elites are starting to see these things. And so guess what? It says, Revelation 12:12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because you know he hath but a short time. And how does he know? He's measuring the times diligently like you should be able. You should be doing the same thing too, you know? Looking at the prophecies. Oh, there's going to be a point in time where the Israelites are going to wake up. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And they know that there had to be a falling away first. The son of perdition being revealed. They know that all the leg is made bare. The skirt is being lifted up, man. They're being exposed for who they are. They also see the children of Israel rising back up. So what? They're trying to implement their plan, all right, at the last minute, all right? Going back to 2nd Esdras 15 and 14. All right. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. All right. And this is what's coming up, man. This is what Esau's ultimately preparing for. Not only 2/3 of our people, you know, he's going to try to come after the saints too, but really all these other nations as well too, you know. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right. So look, this is what you're starting to see right now: sedition amongst men. First of all, these governments are rolling out heavy military artillery for different things, like the protests and everything like that. They coming out there with their heavy artillery and tear gas and all kind of things like that. And they're spraying at people, shooting at the people, whatever, whatnot. And the people are, especially in the Black Lives Matter situation, they're already upset about being shot down by the police, and you just add fuel to the fire with that, right? with the COVID situation. Everybody done lost their jobs and lost all their finances and everything like that. A lot of these Edomites, and so on and so forth. And so they're out here, tired of this lockdown and tired of them trying to force these masks on them and everything like that. A lot of the times in the stores and stuff, you see these Edomites, these younger Edomites, they the ones, especially these Edomite men, they're the ones that's going in the stores with no mask on. I ain't doing that shit. But it's your own people that's putting these grievous laws upon you, man. You should be mad with them. Don't be looking at us like we did the shit. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, these people are getting upset. But guess what? They're moving out the military. All right, which we understand that this is just the beginning stages of what they trying to push, which is the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. All right, it's going to come in stages. First, they got the mandatory mask wearing wherever you want to go in any kind of store. You can't buy or sell. You can't even get in the store if you ain't got no mask on nowadays, right? Well, then they're going to come out with this, like they're saying in this app, the track and tracing app, which they're going to enforce the usage, the tracking by the military, all right? You ain't going to be able to go inside no store, have your kid inside school, do nothing, can't even live in, your neighborhood or whatever, whatnot, if you ain't got this, or so on and so forth, because you could be a hot spot, even if you live out in the country. Hell, you might go to the mailbox and check your mail, then you give it to the mailman, and he spread it to the whole neighborhood, some type of shit like that, So they're going to use this military to enforce these things, if you don't get tested, you don't get tracked and traced and take vaccines, man, they're going to use this military to come down upon you, man. All right, and same with this here RFID chip, man. This is the ultimate end goal for it. All right, but guess what? These people, a lot of these people are how do you say? They're bucking up against this. A lot of these Edomites like that. Just like when Esau be trying to take away the guns from these Edomites, it'd be the Edomites that be tripping over that type of shit, man. All right. So it says, going back to verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And these Edomites got these militias and so on and so forth, man. They're like, you're not going to take my rights. You're not going to impose this. I was in the store the other day, in line between two different Edomites at the damn gas station, and they over there tripping over the mask. They're going to have to force a mask on me over my cold, dead body. They're going to put a mask on me, So you can already see if the government's already enforcing, the military used to enforce all these things, and this is the sentiment of these damn hardcore Edomites and everything. You already see the clash coming, man. All right, the stage is being set for an all-out battle royale, man. All right, every man for himself out here, man. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled and houses destroyed and men shall be afraid. All right, let me go back up to verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because of these shutdowns, the lockdowns, the quarantines and things like that, man. You can't even get on an airplane and leave the country right now. You see what I'm saying? Let alone if they are going to go to a second lockdown, but nevertheless, or full-blown second lockdown. We're kind of under another lockdown as it is now, with the schools shutting back down, certain schools shutting back down, and certain establishments shutting back down. All right, that's some soft-core type shit, but when they get into the hardcore type shit, man, all right, you already got people that's desiring to travel, man. You hear about certain people who relatives die, like their grandmama died just naturally of old age, but they can't go to her funeral, you know what I'm saying, or little Ray got shot or something down the block, they can't go to his funeral. You can't go out of town to go see your relatives or whatever, whatnot. They putting travel bans. Like I think it is here in Florida. I think if you try to come into this state from certain other states, they try to stop you at the border. Or if you go to other states from this state, these high area, high case states or whatever, they try to stop you from going into these other states, But when it gets to a point where, let me keep reading. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, because ultimately going in, hey, we're not going to take this, we're not going to wear these masks, we're not going to go get COVID tested or whatever, whatnot. I'm not saying you should go out there and go get COVID tested and shit like that, but you got these Edomites banging on these other Edomites right now, and they're about to send down the military, really ultimately on everybody, but hey, who's the ones that's going to be clashing up with their guns and shit like that with the military? Mostly it's going to be these Edomites, man. They the ones got their militias, and they like, oh, you can't take my rights, man. All right. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, and shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And ultimately, we're going to these lockdowns and these shutdowns, how they have things, man. There's already, the food prices are going up, man. There's there was a limit to how much food you could buy on certain items. You can only get 2 of these or 1 of these or whatever, whatnot, But let there be a full lockdown. A lot of people already, again, lost their jobs and lost everything that they had. Their unemployment checks ain't really coming or whatever, whatnot. It's going to get to a point where these people are going to be looking around trying to feed their families, and it's going to basically be an all-out purge out here, man. All right, and this is what you're seeing happening, man. The governments are setting up their militaries to be able to roll on you people, and they're just using the coronavirus as some kind of excuse, man. But this is the ultimate plan they ultimately have anyway, all right? Uh, Let me read verse 19 again. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor and shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. All right, so now let's go from there to Isaiah now. This is Isaiah 59 and verse 19. It says, so they shall fear the name of Yahweh from the west and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Ultimately, they're talking about the Lord protecting his servants, the saints, the elect of Israel. But the point I wanted to come in to touch on was when the enemy shall come in like a flood. What do you think he's preparing for, having these militaries implement these vaccines or these COVID tracking and tracing apps, man? He about to come down on you like a flood, man, with that sword, man, trying to lock everybody down again, man, and take the rest of your resources and everything like that and put you into a slave-like society under this RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, which is his ultimate in-game plan anyway, man. All right. Let me just grab that real quick. Where's that? Job 5, and I think it's verse 12. Yep. He disappointed the device of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. The counsel of the forward is carried headlong. All right, because, this is their ultimate plan, but they're not going to be able to implement their plan the way that they have it in their minds, right? So, was it Job 18 or 20 and 18 or 20 and 20, I think? Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. He shall rain down upon him while he is eaten. All right, in verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. So this is telling you when the end-all, be-all of Esau is going to be. Well, before he go into the, captivity in the kingdom. But as far as him ruling, this is where the crown is about to be taken off his head, right? When he's about to fill his belly, all right? When he's about to implement his New World Order fully, all right? This is when the Most High is going to rain these missiles down. And we see him already in the first stages, all right? He's already in the first stages of implementing his New World Order, all right? But ultimately, it's not going to fare well with them. But what? He's coming down with great wrath because he knows he has but a short time. So he's pushing this here agenda out swiftly and speedily, man. All right? And by any means, even with the force of the sword, all right? You know what? Well, let me grab this too, because this is going to ultimately lead into this, all right? Jeremiah 30. I'll start at verse 5. All right? It says, Jeremiah 30 and 5, for thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, not of peace. Ultimately going into, this is going into Jacob's trouble, but how are we going to get there? Everybody's in a tense state where everything's all screwed up right now, so everybody's looking for that peace, calm, and safety, everything to go back to normal, right? But it says, for thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, not of peace, all right? So things ain't going back to normal. Ask ye now, see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces turn to paleness, all right? Because they're going through, let me read it, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great and none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, all right? And so these times, let me grab this other precept that goes along with that, Matthew 24. Oh, slide. This is Matthew 24, verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor shall ever be. And except those days shall be shortened, there shall be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. All right, and the Lord is moving these prophecies along a lot faster and faster and faster, so we can get up out of here a lot quicker. But ultimately, through the guise of implementing this RFID chip, or the different stages, all be getting up into that. The devil's gonna be pushing at you full-fledged, with this here sword, with great tribulation, man. All right, things are getting harder and harder and worse and worse. For a lot of people, it was already hard for them to pay their bills in 2019. Now look at 2020, you done lost your job and your finances, More people are scared about this coronavirus. It's dividing up everybody and everything like that. Now they're about to implement the military to try to force these COVID testing, then force the vaccines, then ultimately force that chip, man. All right, and then a lot of people are waking up to this here RFID chip, and how the Edomites would say our rights are being taken away. They're pushing back against this thing, man. But ultimately, it's going to lead into what? This great tribulation, since there was not since the beginning of the world, even to the end, because Esau see that he has but a short time. It's the end of his run. He like, if I don't get everybody chipped with this here situation now, we're going to lose everything, man. And this is going to cause him to come down with great wrath. This is why you see him preparing with these militaries to implement his so-called safety measures. Like the scripture say, when there shall be said peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them. All right? But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone that taught us his truth and that rule well. And citation, much love for you, I can push in his truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.